It had been a whirlwind of a wedding. Emma and Lucas had spent months planning their dream ceremony, carefully crafting every detail. Now, the stress had melted away, replaced by a sense of blissful exhaustion. They were newly married and desperate for some peace and quiet to simply be with each other. Wanting to avoid the chaos of city resorts and crowded beaches, they searched for a secluded retreat and settled on a charming old hotel tucked away in the hills of Vermont. It was a place called Whispering Pines Inn, a rustic bed and breakfast known for its tranquil surroundings and vintage charm. The online photos showed ivy-covered stone walls, creaky wooden staircases, and cozy rooms with fireplaces. It looked like something out of a romance novel, perfect for a romantic honeymoon. They arrived on a crisp autumn afternoon. The trees were ablaze with orange and gold, and the air smelled of pine and fallen leaves. The hotel stood tall, a timeless three-story structure that seemed frozen in another era. An older woman at the front desk greeted them with a warm, practiced smile. "Welcome to Whispering Pines," she said, handing them a brass key attached to a leather tag marked 213. "Room 213 is one of our most private. You'll love it. Just remember, respect the peace here. The inn has character." Emma and Luca smiled politely and made their way up the stairs. The hallway to their room was long and narrow, lined with faded wallpaper and dim wall lamps. Room 213 sat at the end, its door slightly warped with age. Inside, the room was cozy and softly lit. The four-poster bed was dressed in crisp white linens, and a small fireplace sat across from a pair of armchairs. It was exactly the kind of peaceful atmosphere they had been hoping for. They unpacked, poured themselves glasses of wine, and sat by the window, soaking in the quiet. Finally, Lucas sighed. "No noise, no phones, just us." That first night, after dinner at a nearby restaurant, they returned to their room and curled up in bed. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees, and the inn creaked gently like a sleeping giant. But just as they began to drift off, a sound broke the stillness, a soft, rhythmic scratching from the corner of the room. Lucas sat up, listening. It was coming from near the old wooden wardrobe. He waited, assuming it was the building settling, or perhaps an animal outside. But the scratching continued, slow, deliberate, and unsettling. "Did you hear that?" Emma whispered. Lucas nodded. "It's probably nothing. This place is old." But the sounds didn't stop. Around midnight, the temperature in the room dropped sharply. Emma pulled the covers tighter around her. The heater clicked on, but the chill didn't lift. Then came the tapping, light, quick, and unnervingly human. It echoed along the baseboard, then stopped suddenly. The couple lay still, hearts pounding, listening to the silence. A minute passed. Then another. Just as they started to relax, the wardrobe creaked loudly, like something shifting inside. Emma gasped. "What if someone's in there?" she whispered. Lucas, trying to stay calm, got up and slowly approached the wardrobe. He flung the doors open. Empty. Nothing but two unused hangers swinging slightly, as if they'd just been touched. The next morning, neither of them mentioned the events of the night. It felt absurd in the daylight, like a shared dream. They went into town, visited local shops, and enjoyed each other's company. But as the sun began to set, a sense of dread crept in. Neither wanted to return to the room, though neither said it aloud. That evening, after dinner and a short walk through the woods, they returned to room 213. As soon as they stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted. The air was dense, colder than it had been outside. Emma rubbed her arms and frowned. "It's freezing in here." Lucas checked the thermostat, 68 degrees. He turned on the fireplace, but the chill lingered. Then the television clicked on by itself. The screen glowed with static. Lucas reached for the remote, confused. He turned it off, but within seconds, it powered on again. This time, the static was louder. The screen flickered, and for a brief moment, a shadowy figure appeared, a blurry silhouette just standing still. Then it vanished. Emma clutched Lucas's arm. "Did you see that?" He didn't answer. The television crackled again, and this time a voice came through the static, low, garbled, impossible to understand, but clearly a voice. It sent a wave of panic through them both. Emma didn't want to stay another second. "We have to tell someone," she said. Lucas agreed. They left the room and hurried down the stairs to the front desk. The lobby was empty, but moments later, Mrs. Harrow emerged from the back office. She looked at them knowingly. "Room 213?" she asked. Emma's eyes widened. "Yes, how did you?" Mrs. Harrow sighed and motioned for them to sit. "That room's been different since long before I started working here. Some guests hear noises. Others see things. A couple even left in the middle of the night. The spirits there don't take kindly to being disturbed." Emma blinked. "Spirits?" The woman nodded. "This place has history. A century ago, a newlywed couple stayed in that room. No one knows exactly what happened, but they were found days later, gone cold in their sleep. Ever since then, strange things happen to couples in that room. Like it doesn't want them there." Lucas scoffed lightly, trying to maintain some grip on logic. "So why do you still rent it out?" Mrs. Harrow shrugged. "Some people don't notice a thing. Others, well, it depends on what the room sees in you." That night, against their better judgment, they returned to room 213. They considered asking for a new room, but the inn was fully booked for a local harvest festival. Emma, too tired and shaken to argue, crawled into bed. Lucas locked the wardrobe and left a lamp on. The hours ticked by slowly. Around 1 a.m., Emma sat bolt upright. Someone was humming a soft, eerie tune that seemed to drift through the walls. She shook Lucas awake. They listened together as the hum grew louder, then stopped abruptly. A beat of silence. Then, the mirror across the room fogged up without warning. Letters began to form on the glass, as though traced by an unseen hand, "Do not disturb." Terrified, they jumped out of bed. The mirror cracked down the center. The scratching resumed, this time louder, frantic, coming from beneath the bed and behind the walls. The lights flickered violently. Emma screamed as the wardrobe doors flew open, revealing nothing inside, but the cold that poured out was unbearable, like the room was exhaling. The bed began to tremble beneath them. A distant wailing echoed from somewhere deep in the inn. "We need to leave now," Lucas said. They didn't pack. They didn't look back. They ran. Down the stairs, out the front door, and into the parking lot, barefoot and shaking. They drove through the night until they found a small 24-hour diner 30 miles away. They didn't speak for hours. Neither slept that night. The next morning, they returned only to collect their things. Mrs. Harrow was waiting at the door. She didn't ask any questions. She handed them their belongings and said only one thing as they left: "Some rooms just aren't meant to be disturbed." Emma and Lucas never spoke of room 213 again. They told friends their honeymoon had been quiet and peaceful. But at night, when the lights are off and the world is still, they both sometimes hear it, that soft scratching sound, just beyond the walls. Have you ever stayed in a hotel room that felt wrong? Where the silence was too heavy, or the darkness too deep? Some rooms carry memories, and others, something more. Share your story. Tell us what you saw, what you heard. But whatever you do, if the mirror fogs and the words "do not disturb" appear, listen. Not every door should be opened.